So you know what? Let me say something plain and simple to many people who cheered on the sucker punch of Richard Spencer. Action, meet consequence. So the first thing I want to say is many of you are probably aware of what happened, that during a protest, there was a controversial figure seen in front of camera when all of a sudden someone ran up full speed and sucker punched them. And, many people were condemning it. Many people were cheering it on. The whole thing, to me, we shouldn't cheer on violence. And I made a video about it. Now, this person I'm referring to is Richard Spencer. During the inauguration, Richard Spencer, a white nationalist who I think has deplorable opinions, was giving an interview on a street corner, minding his own business, when someone in black bloc, with a mask and glasses, ran up full speed and punched him in the head. Sucker punch. Many people on the left started making memes and videos and gags. They started cheering on punch a Nazi, saying this is a good thing, you should punch Nazis. I can't tell you how many arguments I got into with people who said that they were justified in using violence to push their political ideologies. But you see what I did there? I'm trying to draw a parallel here. Look, Louise Rosealma, the woman who got punched in the face by Nathan D'Amigo, is an extremist, okay? Antifa is not moderate left. They are not open to discussion. Many of these people outright hate liberals as much as they hate conservatives. They are fringe left, and they are willing to use violence to push their political agenda. In Berkeley, we saw them use explosives. You should not defend these people. Look, you're allowed to have an opinion and think whatever you want. Violence is where we draw the line. The hypocrisy is what really bothers me. So you know what? Let me say something plain and simple to many people who cheered on the sucker punch of Richard Spencer. Action, meet consequence. When you engage in violence, what do you think is going to happen? You punch Richard Spencer in the head and tell everyone it's okay to punch Nazis, and then you say that anyone who supports Trump is a Nazi. What do you think is going to happen? They are going to show up and escalate. After Milo failed to give his speech in Berkeley because it was shut down by Antifa, another rally was held. This time someone showed up in armor with a stick. Antifa responded at the next event by bringing explosives, M80s, mortars, and some improvised explosive devices. This is escalating. And now, to make things worse, Ann Coulter, who is scheduled to speak in Berkeley on the 27th, has had her event canceled. Now, the group that was hosting the event says it will still go on, but UC Berkeley says they cannot guarantee her safety. Therefore, they are canceling the event. Listen, we are entering a world where people with the wrong opinions are being violently attacked. The people in these fringe groups that are getting violent, like Antifa, they say they're doing it because the right-wing people are trying to take away their rights, or that they're defending themselves. But they are literally taking away the free speech rights of the conservatives. It's hypocrisy. Berkeley is going to continue to be the epicenter of the free speech argument so long as these things keep happening. Now, let me address something else, because many people have asked me why I believe the police stood down and did not engage in the protests in Berkeley. And there's something really important to consider. The right holds rallies. They're organized. For instance, Berkeley. They scheduled it in advance. People showed up. They had a plan. The left tends to have spontaneous protests, though the more moderate left and I guess your standard liberal do get permitted protests and march through the street. What do you think would happen if the police intervened? If a police officer hits a Trump supporter, are Trump supporters going to come out in masks and smash up banks and windows and complain about police brutality? They probably won't. But if a police officer hits someone from Antifa, will Antifa then come out later protesting police brutality? Very likely, yes. It is my opinion that the police are trying to avoid an escalation and further protests. Because if video starts circulating showing the police only arresting and attacking Antifa, they're going to come out and start their own independent protests, which will probably lead to violence and property destruction. Look, let's be honest. It doesn't tend to be conservatives who are going out in the streets and smashing things. It tends to be the left. It tends to be the fringe left. So the police have to be very careful in how they deal with these groups. Fortunately for the police, they can let Antifa do what they want against the conservative rallies because they know conservatives aren't going to blame the police for the most part. They're not going to come out and protest the police. So the police stand down. This whole situation will continue to become more and more complicated, and escalation is continuing because now we're seeing on forums, on Reddit, online, Antifa calling for combat training. So I'm going to end this by bringing it back. You have two video clips. Both are inverted. In one, someone from Antifa punches a white nationalist. In the other, a white nationalist punches someone from Antifa. They are both considered to be sucker punches, but let's not draw false equivalence. One was a full-on melee with dozens of people punching each other, and that was when Louise got hit. In the instance of Richard Spencer, he was speaking his mind, giving an interview. I am absolutely disgusted that these people are forcing me to defend someone like Richard Spencer. I do not like his opinions. He is entitled to have them, and he has every right to speak. But when you let someone with reprehensible opinions speak on a street corner, they do not have the moral high ground. People will hear what they say and dislike it. But when you run full speed and punch them in the face, you are giving them the moral high ground. And one more thing. People keep saying that free speech only protects you from the government stopping your speech. No, you are confusing free speech and the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects speech and the press from the government. But the idea of free speech is a fundamental right that we as Americans tend to believe in. That means you are allowed to express your opinion without fear of bodily harm. Many people are sharing a quote that's been attributed to Noam Chomsky, where they asked him if violence was okay in the instance of punching a Nazi. And what he said was, when we enter the arena of violence, the most brutal guy wins, and that is not us. And Berkeley is a perfect example. Antifa was not able to shut the event down. It completed as planned. And now I fear, as Antifa talks about combat training, that people on the right are also going to escalate. So let's do what we can to call out the violence before it gets too bad, because the last thing we really want is partisan violence on every street corner. But I have seen so much partisan violence that I just don't know where this is all going. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Just another quick talky video. I don't like doing videos where I just talk to the camera. You know I like to go on the ground and actually report on issues, but I can't do that 24/7. So I will try to make sure that I'm producing something for you every single day. Sometimes it's an opinion. Sometimes it'll be news reportage on big stories that I think you need to know about. So again, thanks for hanging out. Click the like button, comment below, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more videos like this. Again, last time, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.